Good morning and welcome to Namaste Today, the happy way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the Sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki. This audio blogcast is for Friday. Thank Goddess it's Friday. Friday, May 12, 2017. Thank Goddess it's the weekend. Namaste. Well, after the spiritual rainy season that we have been living, I predict today is the beginning of some good times ahead. Step 22 rules the day, so expect the unexpected. In today's Zodiac Weather, I'll give you the forecast for today and your weekend. And later in your tea time, as I add up all the planets, it's time to dream big. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your Zodiac Weather. This Zodiac Weather is for Friday, May 12, 2017. And my global prediction for planet Gaia is sunny and evolving today. Step 22 rules the day. That means it's time to expect the unexpected. And the moon is heading for the galactic center to reveal our stories. Let's take a look at the planets. Step 22, Taurus, which is the consciousness of I manifest, rules the day today. Step 22 basically comes down to I feel it and I feel it. And when you feel it and feel it some more, then you go to step 4, where you feel you belong on a new level. So this is a minor hiccup followed by a breakthrough in the next 24 hours. And the breakthrough is likely about what it is you value next. What you value next is what you will manifest. And I've mentioned this before, this is an incredibly fertile Taurus season. This particular season through the summer may be some of the most productive with the greatest yields for everyone's abundance and personal dreams. So today may be the quantum step where you start to realize what it is that you want to create. But there are many other clues in the planets that point to this reality. We have Mercury and Uranus still conjuncting, but Mercury has taken a step ahead. Today, Mercury's at the Grand Master step of Aries, step 27. And step 27 is when I feel it and I sense it, I'm going to act. So you see, these two kind of firecracker energies are together today. We're looking like there will be some sort of a breakthrough about what you want to manifest, but also who it is your character is to become next. That's what Mercury in our mind has been working on during this shadow period since Mercury went retrograde. Mercury went direct on May 4th, by the way. So Venus today is at step 8 Aries, and that says, and as I have this vision for how I see myself in the future, Venus says I am committing step 8 to that vision. So it looks like we're about to seal the deal. And by sealing the deal, I mean with ourselves and with our own heart. Now, the moon is in Sagittarius, and the reason why this is important is because between now and Sunday, the moon is approaching the galactic center and Saturn. Saturn has just recently prime-trined, that's a new term of mine, it's a prime-trine, prime-trined Uranus at step 26. The two are both in the same harmonic of step 26. 26 is what I feel and what I can open up to, I decide. So in essence, we are syncing up two parts of our stories, this character that we're deciding to act on today and the story we were meant to live. We've been talking about this now for nearly 6 months. But as the moon climbs through Sagittarius today and tomorrow on Saturday, you're going to emotionally, I believe, have some sort of feeling breakthrough. Step 22, I feel it, I feel it. And that will lead to a new belonging, which will likely lay out some sort of path, adventure, travel, or education for you ahead. And that is the official beginning of the story you're born to live. I believe everything up until now was kind of like the pre-story or the backstory, or us getting reacquainted with the backstory. But now as the moon crosses Saturn through the weekend and seals the deal, you will decide, yes, this is at least where my story is going next. Now, I have mentioned this before, and I will mention it again. One of the reasons why this is a golden week leading to a great harvest is because the North Node has pointed into Leo this week. a very profound time, one that we haven't had since 1998. But what I do know with my North Node Leo research is people prosper in this period. That means that whatever path that's unfolding for you right now will most likely manifest forward, at least in some form. So you want to be very, very careful about what your heart truly wants and what you truly feel. That is my star-studded advice for you, because this North Node in Leo insists that your heart gets what it wants, and that does sometimes mean ruining things that are in the way. So being dishonest with yourself, this is not the time. All right. Now, through the weekend, today we have a step 22 day on Friday. So there will be some sort of realization, some sort of emotional breakthrough. A bubble is going to pop in the next 24 hours. This will be an emotional bubble. It may even come from watching a movie or being inspired by a song or running into somebody from your past. But what it does is it shifts you to a new dimension. You suddenly feel yourself with new possibilities. And with the moon in Sagittarius, it's unlimited possibilities. And this is how the weekend sets off. On Saturday, step 23 rules the day, which means that mostly on Saturday, as the moon is approaching Saturn, you're trying to get to grips with whether or not you really believe in whatever it is you've come to. Is this real? Does this make sense? Does my mind really buy it? Sensei says you likely will, because on Sunday, we move to step 24, where you emotionally allow yourself to go to that level. So this weekend is a breakthrough weekend where you realize that it's time for you to pursue something else, that you've been on the wrong level this whole time, and that you feel, don't know, don't think, you feel that this is the case. And so you'll be meditating on these feelings through the weekend to see if your heart is really behind it. And if it is, we'll be committing to that dream next week. Now, speaking of dreams, this is the topic of today's tea time. So go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekend tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is Dream Big. Now, over the last couple of days, I've been doing some astro history. We've been looking at the North Node in Leo and the Saros solar eclipse series in Leo. And so far I've been talking a lot of politics because things are shifting, and I went back in time and looked at history about how there's always this play for power in Leo or corruption of power in Leo. If you haven't heard those episodes, you might want to listen to them over the weekend, because they really will give you some framework and help you to realize there's nothing to worry about. It's the same old Earth as it always is. But now I want to look at this topic from a more positive and optimistic perspective. In fact, if you look back in astro history, you will see that when the North Node moves into Leo, it's time to dream big. When I say dream big, I mean there's this big, incredible creative force that all of a sudden does a whole bunch of creating and a whole bunch of dreaming. And this creation dreaming actually lasts for the entire 18 years, in my opinion. We all go off on this creative vision for an entire 18 years before we have the North Node move into Leo again, and we all, as a global connected species, dream big again. And it's this dreaming of big things and creativity and following what we love. This is what makes the period a bit of a honeymoon or Camelot sort of period. Now, that said, let's look back in time. When was the last time the North Node was in Leo? It was 1998 to the year 2000, April of 2000. And this, in my opinion, was a huge dream big period. Probably all of you who are listening have some memory of this time. And this dream big period, for me mostly, was the dot-com boom. That's where I saw society dreaming super big, pouring tons of money into certain visions for things to happen. It was Yahoo at that time, remember? And Hotmail was big, and Amazon was big. And actually, it was in 1998 that Apple released the new iMac, that new plastic one that came in different colors. And we're all like, oh my God, that's so cool. It was also that 1999 sort of buzz where we were all kind of wondering what will life be after the year 2000. And there was just this glow where we were creating, there was unlimited possibilities, anything can happen. Now, in my own personal life, this was absolutely true. It was during this time, frankly, just to give you a little Witeki history, where I had been working in television, and suddenly I got the opportunity to direct some what we call wraparounds, and that gave me a taste of what it's like to direct in Hollywood and what that was like. So I was dreaming big myself. But I also realized that I wanted to create my own content. I didn't really want to work for other people and their visions, and so I was kind of confused. In that time, I happened to get a job at a .com, where I was promoted several times, and I ended up kind of leading my department, and I saw the entire world of the .com just exploding. And I remember when I saw video online for the first time, I had the huge light bulb go off of, oh my God, I could create my own television, and I could send it over the internet to people. Now I have to say, here we are at the next North Node in Leo, and it is at this point that I have just released my Serious Joy 2.0 application. And this isn't an excuse for me to give you a commercial, but I have to say, I've just released the product in this second cycle that to me is the creme de la creme of all that vision coming together last time in 1998. So I started dreaming big in 98, and here 18 years later, I have created what I was dreaming. But don't let 1998 hold you up. Let's go back another cycle to 1980. In 1980, as you probably remember, if you're as old as I am, and you probably are old or older, it depends. I have a huge, vast audience of listeners. But I'll tell you a story for those who don't have memory. 1980 was also a very magical, creative time. This was the time period when we ended up having MTV come out, music television, which was gigantic, totally new, which was the birth of cable and the birth of all this really creative, frankly, music writing. I mean, some people don't like the 80s music, but it was a second wave of a whole different genre of artists and a different sound and a different look, and our fashion changed from the hairy 70s to this new 80s thing. I mean, we went through a huge creative change of our culture. And what was big? Michael Jackson came out, and that's actually the time when Apple Computer was first released, and we began to dream big about what computers could do. Remember, 98, now we're in the .com boom, where we're dreaming big about what the internet can do, which is all the computers connected together now doing something, right? So 1980 was indeed a dream big period. It was a period when all sorts of new things came out, and literally that creative period lasted all the way through the 80s and most of the 90s until we got to 98, and we created that kind of digital recreation of ourselves. But let's go back one cycle even further, and that would be 1961. In 1961, President Kennedy was president, and we were, at that time, finally starting to dream big, that we could go to the moon, that we could have equal rights for citizens, technology, the ability to have a car, the ability to have all these appliances in our home. Like, suddenly America was booming, and we felt it at that time, and we planted the seeds at that time that would grow into the entire decade of the 60s. So as you can see, this North Node in Leo is really a big deal. This is some cool cheese. This is some time where we're going to have the ability to actually dream big. And that's the point of this tea time, my friend. This weekend, you're going to be making some sort of quantum conclusions about what your heart wants. Let me tell you, you should allow yourself to dream big. It may take you the entire next 18 years for it to come to fruition. But if you dream now and let yourself run with that creative football and allow your passion and excitement to thrive, you're going to find that you can manifest that dream if you remain focused and on target. Now, one interesting aside that I thought I would add to this is I believe in this particular planetary cycle, whatever we dream will come a lot faster than usual, and that's due to the planet of Jupiter. Jupiter is in Libra. Now, Libra is how we create. Libra is ruled by Venus. And so when Jupiter's in Libra, we become very, very creative. That means we not only have the ability to dream big, we have the ability to create it. And so as Jupiter moves through Libra and into Scorpio this particular year, Scorpio is step 0. So step 0 is creation. It is the beginning, actually. Taurus is technically the manifestation when it sprouts up, step 10. Scorpio is step 0, the very first step. So as I look at the planets this particular time, Jupiter in Libra means if you dream big right now, you will likely also be able to create it. It won't just be necessarily a dream. And not only will you be able to create it, but you'll be able to conceive it and begin its pregnancy, let's say, probably after the Great American Solar Eclipse on August 21st. Shortly after that eclipse, Jupiter moves into Scorpio, at which point we now grow something out of nothing, step 0. You may be fascinated to know that back in the last North Node in Leo, I actually was heavily involved in the internet, heavily involved in television, and at that time I was thinking to myself, I've got to find a way for these things to merge. So I actually chewed on that idea until 2005. Guess what 2005 was? It was the year Jupiter went into Libra. So from my visioning, it took me 5 years till Jupiter went into Libra for me to create it, all right? And I actually began and went with its full birth. In other words, I had my first horoscope on the internet when Jupiter moved into Scorpio, the same transit period that we're having this year. And that was 11 years ago. So in the cycle of things, I dreamed about it 18 years ago, and I started creating it 11 years ago from now. So 5 years later, I started creating it. And then it actually took me 11 years to create it. So I don't know if that's because I'm a slow Taurus or because I had so much to learn. But I only share it because I'm walking evidence that when you dream big and have a vision, you can see it to fruition. And if you plant these seeds of creativity and your heart and dreams at the right fertile earthly times, you will find good things happen. Jupiter in Libra means right people at the right time. When Jupiter came into Libra back 11 years ago, well, almost 12 now, it'll be 12 in January, but 11 years ago, when Jupiter was in Libra, that was the time that I met the team, the people who could help me create this vision and put it together in its first incarnation, which we called Soul Garden at the time. But the point is if you dream it now, if you go ahead and say yes to what your heart wants, I believe the universe is set up with the planets to not only dream it big, but also create it and plant it and move forward. And this is highly likely the story you were born to live. So have a fabulous weekend, my friend, and dream big. Allow yourself to knock that hope out of the park, and I want to hear about your success stories, okay? In fact, this is a good way to plug our club. If you are looking for something to do and want to talk to other like-minded lightwalkers, come on down to our Facebook club. It's at namastetoday.club. All right, my friend, have a fabulous rainbow weekend. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.
Live, love, be.